Returning for his second time, Jorge Neves of CIRV, the voice of the Portuguese community here in Toronto and all of Ontario. Jorge, welcome, my friend.
Hi, Anthony. How are you?
I'm very good. What a day it was, Jorge. Before we talk about Portugal moving on, I want to get your thoughts on of the Euro so far as a soccer fan, as a cultural fan, as a football fan. I mean, watching Portugal and Hungary back and forth, watching the Irish beat Italy, Iceland, we need not say more. How wonderful is it that we love this sport so much in the way the game's played out today in your mind, Jorge?
Yes, it's the beauty of soccer. We never know what the teams are going to do in these major tournaments. We have some upsets, like always, but it's soccer. It's the most beautiful game in the world, for sure.
And not only beautiful, Jorge, but we're starting to see the world starting to shrink. The gap is closing. Iceland, what a story. Wales, what a story. Even Albania, Slovakia. The world is starting to really shrink now. There's no more powerhouses like years past.
Yes, of course. And most of the players that represent their own national teams, most of them, they play in different countries, different leagues, so they develop more the type of soccer that they play. And that reflects when they are playing for the national teams. So the gap is shrinking, and it's good for the fans, it's good for the sports. It's amazing.
You know, before we move on to Portugal, Jorge, I was talking to Leo Molinelli from Italy, and just at the end there, I said to Leo, you know, because Croatia's getting ready to play Portugal, I said, can you imagine if Yugoslavia was together today, Jorge? I believe they would have won a World Cup and a 1 or 2 Euros. What do you think?
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Croatia is a very good team, very offensive. They know what they are doing on the pitch. So they're going to give us a lot of problems next Saturday for sure. So it needs to be good Portugal team on that day, very concentrated. So it's going to be very, very tough. But watch out for Croatia. They are playing really, really good. And from what I've seen so far, they could win this Euro Cup for sure. They have talent players. They are playing good. They have motivation. So it's going to be hard for Portugal.
Okay, so let's talk about Portugal. They're alive, not overwhelmingly convincing in the group stages. Ronaldo woke up today in a big way. The team looked like it started to understand what they wanted to do offensively speaking. They struggled in the back end quite a bit from what I saw, but offensively, they finally put it into another gear. And you saw in different stages of the game, Ronaldo yelling at his teammates, almost like being upset that certain things weren't done or he wasn't given the ball. Maybe I read it wrong, but is that what you saw as well?
Yeah, he needs to step up to be the voice of the team, the leader, and he shows some of those qualities today during the game. Ronaldo is never satisfied. He wants to be the best. He wants to be the better side of the team. So he wants to bring all the players with him and play for Portugal and win the games. I don't know if you know about the story from this morning with the Portuguese national team and Ronaldo.
Oh, I know the story, and I said that off the top of my show, Jorge. I don't agree with Ronaldo and a lot of the things he says away from the pitch. I said this to you, Jorge. I believe he's going to go down in history as one of the greatest players of all time. Right now, I don't care what people say about him and Messi. I love watching them both. But today what he did, I give him 100% credit for taking that microphone and throwing it in the water, if that's what you're talking about.
Yes, and there's a backstory between Ronaldo and that newspaper and TV station. So everybody, even in Portugal, is not going against Ronaldo, but it's going giving their support to Ronaldo because sometimes has limits. He's a human being. So leave him alone. And that walk that they did beside the lake was supposed to be just a nice way to not being with anxiety. So it doesn't make any sense for a journalist, a reporter, to approach him and ask him a question about the game when the players are supposed to be fully concentrated in the match. So it was funny, and the way that Ronaldo reacts today during the game shows that he was on fire. He was feeling something inside him ready to explode, and that's the Ronaldo that we need on our national team.
And you know what, Jorge? Sorry to interrupt, but it puts a bad name on guys like you and I that cover the game we love so much, work in the business we work in. When guys do that, it was a team walk. It was a team function. There was no need for a journalist to put a microphone in his face. And again, I told you this, Jorge, the other day. I didn't like what Ronaldo said after the Iceland game. I thought Ronaldo was 100% wrong. He should have kept his mouth shut. Even if the head coach Santos was saying that the Iceland players from the bench were yelling at him or heckling him, so what? So what? I mean, that's competition in the heat of the moment, and what he said, he shouldn't have said it. But today, I back Ronaldo. And that is, to me, a spirit, a drive, and a passion I haven't seen from him ever in a Portuguese uniform. You?
Yeah, I saw a couple of games with Ronaldo acting like this, but today I think it was very special. I think he wanted to prove a point, to leave a mark on this Euro Cup, and we're going to see a different Ronaldo for sure next game and a different team, because the environment around the team, it's besides we're going through the next round of the Euro, but this game today, we didn't win the game, but we win the team. The mental problem that the team sometimes have, I think today was put it aside, and we're going to see a different Portuguese team next game.
Let's talk about the next game. Obviously, they drew Croatia. Italy wins their group. They draw Spain. Two strong nations in this Euro are going to go home right after their losses, and it's going to be a shame. But I believe, Jorge, that Portugal can actually, really surprise people against Croatia. I saw some cracks versus Spain as well, but I also saw where Portugal today struggled, in the back end. Talk about the adjustments they need to make in the back end.
Yes, I think it's the midfield that's been the problem of Portugal, not the back, but especially the midfield. And today in the second half, when Fernando Santos changed and put some different players like Renato Sanchez and Ricardo Quaresma, the game starts to be the opposite. More aggression from the Portuguese players in the midfield, and that helped a lot the back part of our team. Of course, you need to be lucky at the times too to win the games or to secure, in this case, a draw. That's what happened with Portugal. But most important, and I think that was the main reason that the players were happy in the end of the game, that they advanced, and that was the main point. They didn't win the game. It's the first time that Portugal advances through 3 draws, not a winning game. But I think this could be the moment. And I think with a strong midfield, I think we don't have the same problems that we had in the first half and the beginning of the second half during this game. So I don't think that the problem is necessarily the back with Pep, with Ricardo Carvalho, but I think the solution could be in the midfield with more aggressive players like Renato Sanchez or Quaresma. Nani was playing really good at the first half, so we can take advantage of it and use it against Croatia. And you got to notice that Croatia, it's a different team from the teams that we've been playing so far. It's more an attacking team. It's going to open more, give more spaces for Portugal, for the Portuguese players. So that could be a point to explore against Croatia.
I'll tell you what, just before we let you go, Jorge, I'm going to say it here. I'm calling for an upset. I really believe in my heart that Portugal can defeat Croatia. And why I say that is some of the guys you mentioned, Carvalho, Nani, some of the veterans, Quaresma. These guys are experienced players. They play with big clubs. They've gone to many competitions in their careers. They know what it takes to win. And I believe, just like the Italian squad that got into this round, it's a veteran, it's an older squad, that nothing will affect them, nothing will bother them. And I believe that they could get the job done.
Yeah, I think too. And especially when you are putting the players in a tough position, the players that have more experience, usually they step up. It was like today that you see Ronaldo, you see Quaresma, even Nani. So I think against Croatia, it's a tough opponent, a better team. And during the games between Portugal and the great teams, the better teams, usually that experience comes more often, and you see a different game from Portugal. So that's why everybody is expecting to see a different Portugal against Croatia, and especially because it's the next round. If you win, you advance. If you lose, that's it. You're going home. And we're going to see for sure a different Portugal team next game because it's killed or be killed.
Jorge, we live in a special city, Toronto. We live in a special province, Ontario, special country, Canada. I'm born and raised here. My first allegiance is to Canada, and to Canada get to a World Cup. And I've always said this, if Canada were to play Italy, my two sons and I would wear Canadian jerseys. But I tell you what, we live in a beautiful city, watching the Portugal supporters, the Italian, the Spanish, whatever team you cover. It's unbelievable. You've seen it on College Street. I've seen it on St. Clair. This is why we love the game that we love so much, Jorge.
Yeah, this is a special game, a special occasion, and we are proud to be soccer fans and to cover all these games. It's amazing. It's an amazing time of the year for sure.